Hi everyone, I'm Precious and I am here today with
Kunzi,
Nancy,
and we are from The Voice, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of hearing the Word of God. Not only hearing it, but also applying it over our life. The Bible says in Matthew 4 verse 4, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the Word of God. And so today we're going to be reading the Bible from the book of Acts.
Alright, so I am going to read from Acts chapter 12, reading from verse 5 to 11. So Peter was kept in prison, but fervent and persistent prayer for him was being made to God by the church. The very night before Herod was to bring him forward, Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, bound with two chains, and soldiers were in front of the door guarding the prison. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared beside him, and light shone in the cell.
Yeah.
The angel struck Peter's side and awakened him, saying, "Get up quickly," and the chains fell off his hands. The angel said to him, "Prepare yourself and strap on your sandals to be ready for whatever might happen." And he did so. Then the angel told him, "Put on your robe and follow me." And Peter went out following the angel. He did not realize what was being done by the angel and that it was real, but thought he was seeing a vision. When they had passed the first guard and the second, they came to the iron gate that leads into the city. Of its own accord, it swung open for them, and they went out and went along one street, and at once the angel left him. When Peter came to his senses, he said, "Now I know for certain that the Lord has sent his angel, and he has rescued me from the hand of Herod and from all the Jewish people and what they were expecting to do to me."
Wow. So this particular story in the Bible was just right after Pharaoh had killed James, who is another disciple. He had just killed him. So you can only imagine the fear that was in Peter and also the other people that followed the disciples. They just witnessed someone getting murdered the day before, and then the following day, Peter is now arrested. So you can only imagine the panic, the fear. It's like one thing is happening after the other. And we just have our sister here, Nancy, who's just going to elaborate more on what she took from there.
Okay, thank you, Simi. My favorite part is from verse 7 when the angel comes and he strikes Peter on his side and he tells him to get up quickly. Peter did not, he didn't resist. He just got up. And then he was told to dress himself and put on his sandals. And he did so. That's what the Bible says. And then he was told to put his cloak around and follow. And that's exactly what he did. And because of that, we see him walking out of jail from a situation where he was being guarded by 4 people on rotation. And he knew that he was going to be killed the following day. But because he followed what he was told, he walked out of jail. And even as they got to the gates, it just opened and he was a free man just because of obedience.
Yeah. Wow. Just because of obedience. What do you think could have happened if he didn't obey?
Oh wow, so many scenarios.
So many scenarios.
Probably one of the guys would have seen them and the angel would have disappeared and maybe Peter would have been killed there and then. Who knows?
Yeah. That's very true. Sister Kudzi?
So for me, what stood out is the fact that, Peter was in prison. But the church, the people, they were praying for him fervently. They didn't forget about him. So imagine, in situations, we're in such a hard place, you're just like, you think you're alone. But there's always people praying for you. There were people praying for Peter, even in his situation. And then we go into when he's taken as in prison. He's guarded by 2 guards. Like he's sleeping in between 2 guards.
Yeah.
There's 2 guards at the door, guarding the door. And then the angel just comes and he's like, let's go. Get dressed, put on your sandals because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So he did, like what Sister Nancy said, he just went, he just obeyed, and it's just like, okay, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
And for that, and then we go on and we see they leave the prison, they come to the first door, the second, and then they get to the iron gate. When they get to the iron gate, they find there's the gate just opens on its own accord. There is no effort from anyone, it just opens.
Wow.
So for me, it's just the power that lies in obeying God and trusting in God. When He gives you an instruction, you follow. This gate just opened. No effort. Imagine if he hadn't obeyed, and then now he's trying to do things by himself. Do you think that like he would even have gone past the first two guards, just to begin
What
with?
about the chains?
Even the chains, exactly. This is a man who was in chains. So now imagine with the little strength that he has.
Yes.
Imagine that's when you see God's power, right? Because obviously it's an impossible situation in our human capacity, in our human eyes. But for him, because the angel gave him instructions and he followed through.
Wow.
When he got to the iron gate, which was going to be the most difficult after facing all these things.
Yeah.
This was going to be the most difficult thing. But they got there. This gate just opened on its own. On its own accord means it just opened. No one touched it. Not even a little finger. It just opened. The power in listening to instruction from God.
Wow. I really like this. I love how both of you just really emphasized on obedience. Obedience to the word of God. Obedience to exactly what God said. The angel came and told him the exact instructions that he needed to get up. And what you just said, that the iron gate opened by itself. Imagine, let's say maybe his chains broke and then the angel saying follow him. And Peter starts running. And Peter starts running. By the time he gets to the iron gate, I don't think it would have opened by itself. Do you get?
But he followed.
But he followed. It's power in following. That's obedience. And for me, I really liked verse 11, where it says, and when Peter had come to himself, in your version it says when he came to his senses, which I really like, his senses. Our senses are a very big problem. Our senses are physical. Do you understand? Like our senses are very physical. So if you try to listen to your senses, there's a lot of things, a lot of mysteries, a lot of things that my God wants to do with you that you won't listen because of your senses. Because your senses are telling you it doesn't work like that. Like Sarah was past the age of conceiving. So if she really, really didn't listen to God, she would have been like, you know what? I'm not even going to try having a baby. That's wasting my time. I'm way past that age. That's human senses. That's physical. You see it in the physical. No one gives birth after the age of 55. I doubt it.
Very few.
Yeah, very few, but not, And she was way past 55. But, she was able to suppress her senses. He says, now I know for certain that the Lord has sent his angel and has delivered me from the hand of Herod and the Jews. And there's certain things that we go through in life. God tells you to fast for a certain period of time and you're like, fasting is not going to get me the job. I should be out there applying my resume to every single place that's hiring. But God tells you, go back to your house. My senses are like, the deadline for these jobs are, why are you telling me to get in my house? But then that's where we miss it. We have to divorce ourselves. My version says, and Peter had come to himself. So, meaning this whole entire time he wasn't himself. He was in the spirit, I believe. He was in the spirit. He was functioning in the spirit. That's the thing. We have to be aware that some of the things that we do under God's instructions are actually not physical. They might seem physical, but it's not. He was told to get up. Who in this world can just get up by getting up? Your chains will break. Who in the physical? It doesn't happen.
What is that?
It doesn't happen. No. But he was getting up in the physical, but he didn't know it was actually more spiritual than physical.
Wow. And it then goes to that saying where people say, when God says a word, he makes sure that you have everything that you need. Like he was bound.
Yeah.
And God knew that, for him to put on his sandals, he needs his hands. And God just provided that for him.
He started with that. It's crazy.
Wow.
Sometimes, as Christians, we need to be aware that, you know what, I might look physical, I might be around physical people, but it's not everything that I do that's just physical. Some of the things I do are way beyond physical. For example, we're in the season of visions. Someone might just say we're just writing, but we need to be aware that I might be writing it physically, but what I'm doing is more spiritual than physical. Me writing it is putting it into life. The Bible says my words are spirit and they are life. So everything that God says is spirit and it brings life. So that's why when he said get up, his chains broke. Because when God calls you, you don't go to him with your chains. Your chains will stay.
It will all fall off.
It will fall off. And it's just amazing. And I feel like I remember you were speaking on tie on your sandals. Can you please tell us more about that?
So here it says, tie on your sandals to get ready for whatever you may face. So this is saying when God gives you instruction, be prepared. You don't know, you can't predict what God is going to. You can't predict that God is going to give you that CEO position that you thought you'd never qualify for. You can't predict. So God here is saying, be prepared. So putting on your sandals is just a sign of you're preparing yourself. You equip yourself that for whatever God is going to tell me to do, I am ready. I am ready. I say yes to your will, whatever it is, because God will never lead us to something that's going to hurt us, right? So here it says, prepare for whatever you may face. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It can be a good thing. But sometimes we're not prepared for these good things, right? So we need to be prepared for those blessings. So prepare yourself, listen to instruction, and prepare for yourself. You don't know what God is going to bring. You don't know what it is. You can't predict. This is not a man, right? You can't be like, I know Nancy's next move. You don't know what God's next move. He wants to shock us with good things.
And you know, looking at Peter's context, where he was arrested just after his friend had been killed, and the environment that was just there, the tension, the prayers that were being made because people were scared for his life, they were pleading for his life, and then someone comes that you think is a vision and tells you to put on your slippers and get ready for anything. What do you think is going to happen? I would have been afraid. I would have been like, okay, probably if we're going to get out of this place, there are like 4 guards and there are like 2 doors and there's a big iron gate. So maybe you need my help. How can I help you? But you don't do that. You don't help God. Even if he gives you a word, he will make it come to pass. All you have to do is to believe and to follow, just like what Peter did.
Wow. Just believe and follow. You don't have to help God. That's deep right there. As Christians, a lot of times, I for myself, I don't know about you guys.
Me too.
I find myself, a lot of things that I am doing are influenced by trying to help God. It's like I want to be God's assistant so bad. Like I'm like, he doesn't even need me, but I'm doing it anyways. Oh God, what did you say? You said I'm gonna get to school, like I'm gonna graduate one day. I'm already like trying to help God, and that's where you end up functioning with error.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it's now you.
And that's like a very difficult task, trying to help God, especially pertaining to a word that he has said. Like if we go back to the Old Testament and we look at Elisha, when he had promised people that by this time tomorrow, this will be at this price, this will be at this price, and it's going to be sold at the gate. And you see that guy from the royal guard who didn't believe. And he said, it will happen, but you will not partake of it. But the most important thing to note is how God did it. Because at first when I read it, I was like, probably he's going to do the manna thing, you know, because I had read it before. But then God doesn't operate that way. He used lepers and an army. And the illusion of horses and chariots and, you know, and God's army, so that he can avail that food that Elisha had said that God would do. And it happened to pass. So imagine, who would have thought that 4 lepers walking would sound like the great army of the Israelites, and people would run away, and all that barley, the flour, all that food would just be available, just like God had said through Elijah.
You know, as you were just speaking, I'm thinking about Elisha. I'm like, he said, God spoke to him, right? He didn't do nothing. He just said it, and he said that he had become so used. He knows how God works. He just said it, and then he said that because he knows when God says something, he's bringing it unto completion. And the same time when God was saying it in that moment to Elisha, somewhere over there, he's using the lepers. So Elisha, all he had to do was to just say it and sit there.
Wow.
The same thing that happened to David when he was told you're going to be king. The very next verse, the Lord sent an evil spirit to Saul, opening a door for David to enter into the palace. Because one day they needed David to be the one that plays the harp for that evil spirit to go away. So David didn't have to do anything. He just had to be anointed and go back to his sheep. A problem was created right in the moment, and he was being made the solution. Wow. So that's the same thing that happens with us. The very day that a word was spoken over our lives, the very same day a way was made. It's not my job or my duty to start chasing so many things around, to start wondering how, when, how. It's not for me. The one that said that word, me, thank you, I know he's doing something else. Wow. He's connecting it.
Absolutely.
Elisha, I just said something. I bet he didn't even know how either, but he just said it and said that because he knew the God he serves.
I think also another problem that we as human beings have is trying to understand using our logic. I guess it's the world that we're in. It just tries to make us always use our logic. Yes, logic applies to things that happen on earth, but there's things, the things of God, you can't use logic. No. You can't use 1 + 1 is equal to 2. It doesn't. It's not the same. It doesn't work. So the Bible even says that trust in God and do not rely not on your own understanding. Because your own understanding will not, like, you try and understand with your physical mind. It won't make sense. You're like, but God. So what must I do with these 2 gods? And obviously these are strong gods. There's 2. I'm lying in between 2. And then this angel just says, come, let's go. Go away. How? Where? How are we going to? And these are not the only guys. There's 2 at the door. And then when they were going towards the iron gate, they passed the first and they passed the second. And imagine thinking, okay, or let's say we've managed to go through all of these. When we get to the iron gate, the iron gate is obviously very hard to open. But when they get there, it opens on its own. Yeah. Not even a little finger to move it. It just, they get there and it opens.
Wow.
On its own accord. No one even tried to do anything.
It then just gives an affirmation that when God speaks, it's intentional and it's for our good. Because the first word was get up. And as God said that, the chains fell off. And when they got to the gate, there was no need for a word to be said again, because the first word, get up, had set things in motion, such that by the time that they get to the gate, it would just open. It then also reminds me of that verse in Revelations 3 verse 8, where it is being said that, behold, I have seen your works, you have not denied me. Now I am going to set before you a door that no man can close.
Because you have believed.
I know your deeds. See, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut. For you have little power, and have kept my word, and have not renounced or denied my name.
I like, now I'm just hearing something. For you have little power. God knows the little strength that you have, but He is even more honored because you had that little strength, but you still listened to the word of God.
And imagine he was supposed to die like the following day. That's like his midnight hour.
His literally final midnight.
Yeah. And then God just shows up. Oh wow. I'm amazed.
I am amazed. And I like how you said you never expect don't expect things to go the way you want them to, because even these people, like in that same book in Acts, he said after he was after the Lord had set him free, when he was like, oh, now I know, now I know without a doubt that it was God. He said, the verse right after that, he goes, now I know for certain that the Lord has sent his angel and has delivered me from the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the Jewish people. And Herod was about to kill him the next day. The people were expecting it, and Herod was doing it because he had killed James and it pleased the people. So imagine the people are like, whoa, King Herod, oh my gosh, we are so excited. Tomorrow he's about to kill another one right after our Passover. People's expectations don't have a say in God's plans for your life. People are expecting you to be somewhere else, to be in a certain place, to be at a certain level. But when there's a word spoken over your life, their expectations will not come to pass. They will fail. They will only remain expectations, nothing more. But the plan of God over your life will always prevail.
Wow. I also got another revelation about peace. Did you see how Peter was sleeping when the angel came? People were praying for him without ceasing, fervent prayers without ceasing, right? And he was sleeping because God gave him peace. He was in a difficult situation, but he was asleep. Imagine this God that we are serving. Such a situation, and you are just at peace. If it was me, I would be busy trying to atone for my sins, trying to run situations in my head. But God, what if, what then? But no, he gave him peace, such that the angel had to come and nudge him so that he gets up.
That means he didn't even hear the angel. He didn't hear anything. He said he had to strike him. In my verse, imagine how peaceful you are. If no more sleeping. If I even open your door, some of us I would be up. But he was so peaceful to the point the angel had to strike him. What kind of peace is that? Peace that surpasses all understanding. That's the key.
And I think Peter had lots of these fruits of the Spirit. We really should study him.
You are onto something.
You really
fruits
are.
of the Spirit. Peace. We need to. I guess it's hard to have obedience without peace.
Oh yeah.
How can you obey when you're conflicted?
Get inside your head. I cannot.
You can't even listen when you're conflicted.
You can't. You can't stand still.
No.
So many things.
A lot.
So sometimes I'm guessing, like, when you are acting too much in your senses, question your peace.
Wow.
Question your peace. That spirit, the fruit of the Spirit, the peace.
Wow.
Because if you have that, so many things won't get to you. So obedience, before obedience, question you. Whatever you're doing, ask yourself, where do I stand with peace? Am I at peace? Because if you're not, you need that kind of peace, you actually need to be
Now I'm thinking of the opposite, because we are really talking about the goodness of obedience and stuff. Let's look at Lot's wife. If you don't obey, if you do not obey, that was just distraction there. There is no return from being a heap of salt. So
we really need to obey.
Obedience is the best thing actually. Even if you read Proverbs, it's just talking about obedience. Obedience.
It's better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
Some of us, we don't obey, but we fast a lot. We're sacrificing. But then God is like, I didn't even tell you to fast. I just told you to be quiet. But you don't know how to be quiet.
It's better than sacrifice.
And even in Luke it says that blessed are those who obey the will of God.
Amen. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being part of our video. And if you want to hear more, as you can see, there's more. Make sure you join us and follow us on Instagram at _TheVoice100. Make sure you like, comment, and share this video. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.